Good morning and happy Sabbath, everyone. Today, our mission report is from Nambia. Teopana is not sure about his age. His best guess is 82. He has 4 wives and more children and grandchildren than he can count. Teopana first heard about God from his parents. His parents, in turn, heard about God from the first Adventist missionary in the area, a white man from Portugal who arrived 3 decades earlier as part of a outreach co-founded by 1993 30th Sabbath offering. My parents told me that we need to give glory and honor to God. Theopana said, I decided to listen to my parents. So when he became village chief, he reached out to the Adventist church to ask for someone to reach him and his people about God. A Bible worker came on Sabbaths and read under a tree from the Bible. Like many Himba people, he has never gone to school and cannot read. Then Bible worker organized 2 weeks of evangelistic meetings. He brought a projector and a generator and he projected images on a screen in tent set up just a short distance from the tree. The Bible worker saw Theopana's anxiety and prayed for rain. He pleaded with the Lord to open up his good treasures, the heavens, to give rain to the land in its seasons, and to bless all the work of the Himba people's hand. He prayed for a week. At the start of the second week of meetings, rain began to fall. It was 2 months before the rainy season. Light showers watered the parched ground during the day and stopped just in time for the evangelist meetings in the evenings. The rain counted for 4 months. It was a time of great rejoicing for the Himba people. The village chief saw God's presence in other ways as well. After the meetings, he noticed a change come over the village. People stopped stealing, they stopped fighting, they stopped drinking. He was pleasing. What I want is a church building, he said. I want a place to worship. That is the only thing that I requested. In the meantime, 30 to 60 Himba children, adults gather under the tree on Sabbaths to sing songs of praise to God and to listen the Bible worker teach from the Bible. During the week, the Bible worker also goes from hunt to hunt to teach the Bible. We were created in the image of God, so He is the one who want. He said, we desire Him. Prayer that Himba people may know that God in Nambia, part of a 1993 30th Sabbath offering. Thank you.
Happy Sabbath, everyone. Sabbath. So, for today's feature talk, as I've chosen to speak about the beautiful nature, in that I want to talk about a specific beautiful animal. As there are various animals, uh, we, we all have our own favorite animal also sometimes, and we'll admire it by its ability, we'll admire it with its ability, by its nature, like how it will fight and how it will find its food and grow in this nature. I want to speak about this beautiful creature, which is dolphins. As we all know that dolphins are one of the most favorite animal to most of the people. As as of we all know that dolphins are very good in nature. They are so friendly with human beings. Most like it will understand humans' mindset. It will be like it can understand humans' emotion. It can it can see whether a human being, the other person, is emotionally happy or sad or angry. It can understand all this. It has that mind. apart from what you all know, I want to talk that it has more than 30 years of lifespan, it seems, and and it can swim up from 25 kilometers per hour speed in this water, it seems, and it is cold-blooded, it seems. Means it's not completely like a fish, but it is a mammal, as it has to come out of the water to breathe directly from it, because it can't breathe from water. So scientifically, all this, but the the what makes this creature more special was it uses like 20% of its brain, it seems. Like we all know, human uses only 10% of his brain in this nature, but dolphins uses 20%. Uh, Maybe like this 20%. I don't know why, but it uses like it has an ecosystem in its near its brain, which uses its ecosystem to detect the other creatures around it and to to find its food, to find the other object nearby by using its echo vibrations. Um, I've doubted like why it has got 20% of its brain to use while it is living in this nature. Uh, then I've got to know that it will sleep with one eye open because of the distance between the two brains of it is having. It will it has one eye open and then it sleeps with another eye closed. And I found that it does like that to find its prey, whether I mean to find to identify its predators, to be alert while sleeping, to not get attacked. It will be has this ability. God has given a different ability to this dolphin to live its life. Um, Before this, I want to read the scriptures from 1 Corinthians 10:13, which says, 1 Corinthians 10:13, no temptations has overtaken you except what common in mankind. But God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide you a way out so that you can endure it. So, the dolphins have a different lifestyle, and God has provided it the lifestyle it is needed, the nature it is needed to, in order to defend its struggles. God has given this different ability. So, I want to remind, as of humans, even God has given the ability to face our troubles, to face our uh, suffering, to control our temptations, everything that is needed in order to serve God. As as we can see in the scriptures, He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. In the sense, I want to remind you with a question. I want to end this feature talk with a question that are we are we are we really using the all abilities that God has given to us or not? With this thought, I want to close. Thank you.
To close our Sabbath school, song number 367.
Our closing song is song number 367. Meanwhile, offering will be collected. Rescue the perishing, care for the dying, snatch them with pity from sin and the grave. Weep for the unequal, lift up the fallen, tell them of Jesus the mighty to save. Rescue the perishing, Jesus is merciful, Jesus will save. There's mighty peace, peace, to receive. Jesus is merciful, Jesus will save. In order to close this Sabbath school, I request Ashlesha ma'am to offer a closing prayer. On behalf of Sabbath School Department, I thank all the participants for taking part, and may God bless them. And English class will be taken by Brother Sandesh, and children's class will be taken by Mrs. Mary. Let's all disperse for our classes.
A very good morning and happy Sabbath, church. Before we get into the lesson study, I would like to offer a short prayer and then after we can go ahead. Father, we thy children come into thine presence to worship thee and praise thee. We thank thee for another wonderful day that you have gifted us. As we all bow our heads, as we contemplate on your word, we request thine holy presence to be with us. Lead us and help us to learn thy word much more better so that we could start implementing it in our own lives and we could use it for thine worship. Continue to be with us throughout this Sabbath. Bless us and touch us and lead us in your presence. As this few mercies in the most powerful name of Jesus. Amen. For the last few weeks, we have been pondering upon how the things at Pharaoh, Moses, and how did things go with plagues and all the other stuff. But this week, we are majorly speaking about the law of God. How did the law of God come into the picture? How important were these 10 commandments that were given to us? And how do we focus on it? What's the importance of these 10 commandments? Do the new generation of Christians, do we really care about the new commandments? After Jesus coming into this world, when he started preaching, when he started doing his ministry, what sort of an importance did Jesus give to these 10 commandments? And is this law of God is the law of God really important to us to maintain? Are different sort of questions that we have. But to start with the Saturday's lesson, it says the title is A New God. If we see, Egyptians never had one single God. They had too many gods. They had too many other rituals. The kind of rituals they had were very long enough. They were dwelling on too many different things. So Israelites being in Egypt for such a long time, generations to generations, have seen a God in different ways. For them, it was never a single God. It was different gods for different purposes, for different gods to do different will of them. But once they were delivered, where they usually call him God of Hebrew, they were only one single God. The deity of God has completely changed. They had only one single God. And the question was it easy for Israelites to concentrate or else to ponder upon single God? Was it easy? Was it easy for the Israelites Yeah. So, how are Israelites getting used to this new format of having only one single God was always a question. If you see, the God of Hebrew, the one who has given them the 10 commandments, demanded exclusive worship and cared about how people treat each other. The way the different two formats of Egyptian gods and the God of Hebrew was only on a single point. He said, you would only worship me exclusively. You would not only worship me, but you would also treat the other people the same way you treat me. So the question is, what's the new God in our own lives these days? If you see, even we got to see a lot of different things in this new generation. There are too many different gods, probably, that could be our own idols that we created for ourselves. How do we match up, or else are we also clueless, like Israelites, pondering upon, or else saying, what sort of a God should I worship? What's our state of mind when we see different sort of things for different purposes? Is our sole focus on single God? Are we completely relying on him? Or else we keep changing with the perspectives, we keep changing with the purposes that we have in our life. So how different are we from Israelites? Yeah. True.
For education, there are such things. For something else, something else, something else. In their field, we also have many gods in ourselves. Because more than God, we love or we give more time for the abilities or the benefits of whatever it is in ourselves. So unknowingly, we are no better than
True. Yeah. When I say God, what do we really mean by it? How do we define God? How do we define God? Because, for example, say there's so many people who usually use this phrase of saying, "He is my Godfather. He is the one who has made." Yeah. Uh, he is the one who has helped me, so he is my God. How do we really see God? How do we define God? Do we define God through the law that God has given us, or we define God through our own feelings?
no, by the rules or by the rulers,
Mhm.
know the nature, know the God. So by the law that was naturally the law was the transcription of the Sabbath. So the law of God wills itself. The law wills that is love will not based on our own feelings. The law itself tells us that God is love. So,
Absolutely. But, yeah. Yeah. But how are we defining God in these new ages is the question. So, if you see, in New Age, there's a lot of confusion first. The confusion is because we truly do not understand the law first. If you see, while we speak about Sabbath as well, there are many churches, the other denominations, they usually fight on one thing. After Jesus, they tend to say Old Testament is completely vanished. We only believe in New Testament. The laws that were given in the time of Moses has no more weightage after Jesus Christ's death on the cross. So I feel we are sheep that are wandered and we're into too many different places, doing too many different things, not knowing who the real God is. How does the real God function himself? If you see, the only two things that Israelites were told was, I'm your God, exclusively you should worship me, one. And the second one, you shall love others like you love me. The clarity is very clear enough. All that you have to do is only worship him. You got no other gods than him. You got to love your neighbors as you love yourself, or else as you love the God. So when we move to the next lesson, it says a jealous God. Yeah.
God, Isaiah 46 chapter, God himself says, I am God. He says, only I know the past, present, and future. And he says, I have no beginning and end. And we have many days in this world. They claim to be God.
Mhm.
They have no beginnings, but God, I am the Alpha and the Omega. He is someone who is not existent, and then he doesn't have no beginning and end. And he claims to be all powerful.
Yeah, that's the new God that we have. That's the new God we got to believe in. But we still lack it. The reason why? We do not have clarity. Absolutely. That's why he said, love yourself as you love your neighbors. Right? Right? Yeah. You can feel the presence of God when you just pause up your mind, stay calm, and look just 360 degrees around you. You could feel his presence. Probably in charity, you can see His presence. In praying, you can see His presence. In doing anything that brings a glory to His name, is doing a godly thing. But we yet to fail. So the reason why the next lesson, it says, it is titled to be a jealous God. Why is it said a jealous God? Why is God jealous? Why should God be jealous? For sinners like us, why should we be jealous of us? Or else, why should we be jealous that we tend to bow our heads to someone? For example, I love my son a lot. I would like him to call me dad. And if he does not call me dad and he tends to call someone dad, that does not keep me happy. That absolutely does not keep me happy. So, when you worship one, when you tend to be a believer to the God Himself, He is the one who has made you. And even in the verses, it says, Exodus 19th chapter, I guess, if I'm not wrong, it says, I have cared for you tenderly like an eagle for her young. So, if you look at eagles, eagles are very much protective about their children. They kind of put them under their wings and they take care of them very well. So, when God says, I kind of put the tenderly love onto you and you do not obey me, it's not even obeying, it's not caring for Him, makes Him jealous. But the question is, are we worth of that jealousy feeling that God has? How worth are we? Or else, how do we define, firstly, how do we define why is God jealous? I had one example, and anyone, if you have another, it should be great.
Actually, God demands exclusive worship.
Right?
Because He said He is jealous, we should know that He will not tolerate me as we are given. He will not tolerate others worshiping me.
Right. If we see the very first law, what's the first commandment? That itself makes it very clear. He could put any other commandment on the first, but He decided to have His commandment on the first one. And what's the second commandment? We shall not take His name in vain. Yeah. So the kind of atmosphere or the kind of environment that God has been creating is through His law is to keep us abided to Him, to keep us so close to Him that He shouldn't start feeling jealous about it. What happens if God feels jealous about it? What happens if you don't obey Him? If you do not love Him, you tend to create your own gods, your own idols. Your idol can be anything. Probably the kind of work that you do, your job can be your idol. The kind of fashion sense that you have could be your idol. The kind of success that you're very proud about can be your idol. So we tend to create so many idols these days. Your social appearance on social medias is one idol. You're probably following someone, you would like to look up to him and do things. It's nothing wrong in looking up to someone, probably looking up to your pastor, and you feel, I should preach like him, I should do God's work like him. That is a positive impact. But when it's creating negative impact and doing nothing good for God, it's creating a negative idol. So we created so many idols. We cannot deny the fact, and nobody is that pure that they reject saying, I haven't created any idol. Idols in the sense that does not mean you pick up an idol made of sand or else mud, put it in your house, put it in your homes, and you start worshipping or praising it. It could be of anything that you have created mentally. So how do we overcome these idols? How do we not make God jealous? What do we have? I try my maximum level at shedding few of the things. But what are the good practices? How we not make a God jealous? Anyone? Anyone has good practice that you think that I'm not making my God jealous about the things that I do?
It's not
True. Yeah, that's right. It's like refusing God's divinity, refusing God's power in our life would obviously lead to you in paths where God will really feel jealous about you. Uh, when I started working, I was so passionate about the job. Even sometimes I tend to open my laptops and work on Saturday because I wanted to be on the good books. When the appraisal happens, I wanted to have the best percentage of increase in my salary. I wanted to be the top in class. So I have done it. I have created a virtual God. That's my job. But years passed away, I understood it's not worth than my own God. Because when you fall sick, you tend to apply leave for good 10 days. The company does not carry you on the 11th day. But even when I start rejecting God for a couple of years, He still stood with me. Now, then when I started weighing it up, even in the midst of trouble, even when my circumstances are not good, who is the one who stood with me? That's my God. So why do I make Him jealous? I shouldn't be making Him jealous. I should be worshiping Him more and more. So the biggest question for the new generation Christians is, how are we overcoming these idols so that your God does not feel jealous about it? Anyone has any other idea? Anyone felt, yeah, this was my idol, but this is how I've overcome it? Money can be your idol. Everybody loves money. Who's the one who does not like money? Everyone likes money. But to what extent are you using your money? What are you delivering out of your own money? Are you delivering something that's putting you on a wrong path? Or is that creating a positive energy? So, what sort of an idols do you think you have? Or else, what could make God feel jealous about it? Looks like I have told the most important idols of everyone, so there's none that has a different idol. Yeah, we tend to fall for this, our businesses, our jobs, our money, the fashion, other stuff, but it is not right to make God jealous. So the reason why I say it's not right to make God jealous, you will only not to escape, or else you would be able to go away of not making God jealous, is when you understand the law. It is the basic foundation of any Christian to build his life. While you get into the school, you have a subject called moral, which is usually taught in the Seventh-day Adventist schools. What is the child taught? The 10 Commandments. I remember writing examinations on 10 Commandments. How many times? I do not know. It has been a part of your journey to a very good extent. When you reach 10th class, you still keep revising those 10 Commandments. Even when you have little children in your house and your home, you start teaching them the 10 Commandments. What's your first commandment? What's your second commandment? So the law of God has been since the very initial stages. Until unless you do not understand the law, you don't understand God. Or else, vice versa. You wanted to understand God, understand law, so that you understand how great the God is. So, let's not make God jealous. How we don't do it, it's a personal choice to everyone. How do you deal with it? It's again a personal choice. It's always the prayerfulness, it's always the kind of mentality that you dig in and bring out through this law makes you to avoid doing that mistake. So that's our, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's how our Monday's lesson is. It says, oh, be careful what you do. Oh, be careful of what you do. How many of us take God's name in vain? It shouldn't be vocally taking up His name. But as Christians, don't we take the name of God in our lives? How are you identified? How are you identified? You're identified by your God. So when you say taking the name of God in vain, how do you define it? How do you define it in the new generation? Is it only promising about Him? Or else on His name you say something and you don't truly appreciate it or truly do it? Or else, how is the law? If we get into depth of it, it says, oh, be careful of what you do. So, taking God's name in vain, what do we understand by this? Any thoughts? Yes. True. See God. True. Mhm. Yeah. True. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so for that good points that you have raised. But the question again is the kind of law that you said. I like the part is decoding law will let you know who God is. So now to circle it out, if I do not respect law, or else I've been indirectly or directly disrespecting law, is it equal for me to say that I'm taking the name of God in vain? How many of you say yes? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. To have an added point to what you have said, even to the very last, Jesus said, there will be many people who would come in my name saying, Lord, Lord, I have done this for you. But what do God say? He said, I do not know you. Yeah.
Been said. As humans, we all are given a family name, like the heritage that we have, our parents, and the things that we do reflect on their.
Yeah.
So, they say, for example, if we don't live according to the heritage that we have, God disgrace your family. As Christians, many times we take the name of Christ, we take the name of Christ, the name of God, as our identity. We say we're Christians. We come to church, but outside our words, our actions, the things that we say, how we say things, might not reflect our Christianity. In our eagerness to defend ourselves, whatever it is, we become many times unchristian. And so I think not just words, even in our actions, where we go, what we do, how we do stuff. This all adds up to how we are living up to the name that we have. We all have flaws.
True.
We all have flaws. But then, knowingly doing it over and over again, I think should be very good. Not really disgrace the name that we say. We are so careful about our own family name. Should be even more sacred and more careful about the name that we say.
Yeah. While I was reading one of the passages in one of the books, it says, it picks up one good example. When Jesus looks at a fig tree, he goes to it and he sees no fruits on it. He curses it that it never bears a fruit again. If you see, it's reflected on our Christian lives as well. From very far away, we look like very fruitful trees. Until and unless someone comes closer or knocks on your soul and they peep in, they do not know that you're bearing no fruits. As Christians, or else as Major will put it this way, as Adventists, we kind of dress up very well. We kind of show our outward appearances to the world very strongly. The kind of uniformity that we maintain is very strong since our childhood, since the time we start realizing things. But how important is law for us? We don't contemplate on it. We don't write that law on our hearts. I don't know if you look at the other denominations or the other churches, they exclusively miss one law. They do not keep the Sabbath holy. So while we move forward on how our lives are, there's one question that still remains unanswered for me. They do worship the same God that we do. They do follow Bible. The worship is probably 10 times better than what we do. The kind of words of wisdom that they put into their congregation is somewhere stronger than ours. But they worship God on Sunday and we worship God on Saturday. We stood on it. The whole organization is built based on one single commandment, is to keep your Sabbath holy. But when God comes the second time, how would he judge? Would he tell them, you failed doing one commandment of mine, which is probably very important, because the importance of Sabbath all through the chapter of Matthew all through the chapter of Mark, you keep reading how important Sabbath was. And it was very clearly written. Jesus was, after Jesus' death, could have rose the same very day or the very next day. But he chose to do it on Sunday, but not on Sabbath. There's so many different things that are said on Sabbath. So how are we going to be judged? Are all those Christians worshipping on Sunday would perish? Wouldn't they have a place in the eternal kingdom? Is it only for Adventists and others would be let out? Right. True. Yeah, dead Christian, I'll come to that point. Yes.
Actually, this is only chosen ones.
Okay. Dead Christian, I get a point. Atta says only few are chosen, so probably we are those chosen ones. Keeping that hope alive is very important. It's good to have that hope that I'm one of those chosen one. But even while you're chosen, even you're one out of the whole lot that God's going to pick you up, the thing that still does not get to the clarity is, why should so many Christians perish at the very first point? Their prayer life is very tremendous. The kind of faith that they show is absolutely strong. The kind of things that they do, the ministerial things that they do, the kind of outreach they do is very strong than many of our Adventist churches do. But on only one single commandment, would God deny them? Okay. Law is more than faith. Good point. Yeah, law is more than faith. Yeah, but like I like the point that Uncle said, that is, law is beyond faith. And while we stand for judgment, if God starts judging us based on law, forget if you're going on Saturday or Sunday, that becomes very secondary. Nana food would place even a foot in the kingdom of that God has created for us. Yeah, that's deceiving. Because it's very clear. It said there will be many people would come in my name, would do miracles, would do better preaching, would bring better churches. There are multitudes. If you see, our churches are very small. Probably the kind of congregation that we have is very small. The kind of congregations that the other denominations has is huge. But like even stadiums get filled up when they call for conferences, they call for preaching. But would all these people perish? Because every time I look at it, that keeps questioning me. Why aren't people so ignorant about that law? It is so clear in the Word of God, keeping Sabbath is holy, and at every stage of Jesus, the kind of ministry that he was doing, they kept on speaking about Sabbath. What should we eat? When should the healing should be done? When should the healing not to be done? Even to a great extent, if Jesus has to walk to the cross, it was because of law. The teachers of law and Jesus had this conflict. They called him, "You're not the son of Messiah, you're doing something wrong. This is called blasphemy. It's not miracles." It took Jesus to the cross. Law took Jesus to the cross. But Jesus was very careful about the law. He did give very specific answers when they were asked, "Your disciples were pulling up corn and they were eating on Sabbath. Wouldn't you tell them not to do it?" Jesus had a very amazing answer for it. When Jesus was healing on Sabbath, they said, "How can you heal on Sabbath?" Jesus had a very amazing answer for it. I think probably when that kind of judgment comes on us, even each and every one of us should have one better answer to do. Why have you done it? Because the lesson itself, the title itself says, "Oh, be careful of what you do." So as people of His, we got to be careful. We got to be mindful. Right? You're only observant, you're only mindful when you have those laws written on your heart. Yes. True. Yes. Yeah. In Matthew chapter 22, from verses 37 to 40, it's written very love defined all different ways. He never said, "I'm really love you, Lord." Or he never said, "I'm abolishing the law of Moses." No, that was never said. He felt people, I shouldn't say that people weren't dumb, but people couldn't understand law. So he had to use parables, he had to use different good stories to do something very experimental for for people at those times to understand the importance of law. But the new generation of Christians that we all are, I think major of us misunderstood it. Misunderstood Jesus abolishing law. Yeah, there are many churches that were built on that same concept that there is no law of Moses. There is nothing called Sabbath. We did both. Yeah. Yeah. But churches had developed so, sir, because, like she said that, did you ignore it or you misunderstood it? There are many churches who know the truth, they ignored it. Because these days, many churches has been a great business. The kind of amount of money that you could make out of these churches is humongous. So your feelings, or else again, the kind of idols that you create make you enter paths and create such ecosystems would destroy the law of Moses. But sometimes we got to be happy. Sometimes we got to admit it. I sometimes, me and my wife have this debate because she slightly comes out from the Sunday background and I'm from the Saturday one. So I keep telling her, I'm lucky enough that I was a born Adventist. It's very simple for us. We don't complicate our lives. We know the only single fundamental thing is law is important. Our churches are built on this, and we only remain in it. And there's no one-man show. We have so many pastors. We are trained pastors. They should go through theology studies, and then they become pastors, and then they get ordained. So these kind of debates can be done all through day long. But the only answer could be on the day of judgment. But till that day, you got to be careful of what you do. Don't ignore it. Don't misunderstand it. Don't fall onto your own conclusions. The only job of yours is to make sure you follow all those 10 commandments that God has given. Yeah, you had something to add.
Actually, the people who comes every day must come.
True. Yeah. The prayers are much more stronger. The faith is much more stronger a little bit than us. I guess they get lucky when they come into Adventist because they're covering both the topics. One is the keeping the Sabbath holy, and you're coming in as a very strong Christian. So I guess those ones are much more the chosen ones than us. I probably think. Probably walk for them is very easy. Yeah. Yeah. True. No. Yeah. Yeah.
We are Catholics, we worship God. And there is a church in which we visit the church every Sunday. They also worship God. So what is
Yeah. That's the best way to differentiate people. See, things should be even easier for God, right? When He comes for judgment, if there's no law, He got to judge each and every member of a church. That would take quite a long time. I wouldn't say that is impossible to God. No, that's possible for Him. But if He has to purify people, His own people, based upon the law, it's easier for Him. It is very evident, more than saying easier, it is evident these were the honest people for me. We kind of define ourselves as His children. Now, when I say defining as His children, when we move to the next lesson, it says, what happens when we fall? If we see in 1 John, 2nd chapter, verse 1, it says, the Lord does not condemn us to shame, but leads us to Him for mercy and transformation. So, when you fall, how do you think God's going to save you? Would God save you?